Ladies, what's something a guy has done that instantly made you think, wow, he's different in a good way? 1. One of our first dates, a teen waitress spilled a whole glass of water on him when it was super busy and she was rushing about. She started apologizing with tears almost running down her face, and he took the time to console her, not even worrying about his clothes. He gave her a moment to breathe without the other customers by pretending to look busy with her before she went on her way feeling better. I've seen too many waitstaff get treated poorly, but watching him take care of her leads me to believe he's going to be an amazing father one day. 2. In high school, one of my guy friends who liked me baked me a big plate of chocolate chip cookies and randomly gave it to me one day. I finished the whole plate during one class, and he was impressed and also a bit horrified. I thought it was super cute and unusual for a dude to bake someone cookies. He and I have been together going on 16 years, married for almost 7. How he baked me cookies is one thing I'll never forget. 3. Had been dating my, now, husband for about a month, maybe 2. One evening I was at home and he unexpectedly showed up at the door, and asked me to come out to his car. He just showed me a piece of wood he'd bought. Turns out he bought it from near my house, and as he was passing, he figured he'd stop by and show me. Literally showed me his wood and left. I knew then that he wasn't trying to play games or act in a certain way like other people I'd dated. That piece of wood is now our coffee table. 4. When my husband was my boyfriend, I noticed that he always acknowledged everyone in the room. For instance, whenever we were in a room with my entire family, he would approach absolutely everyone: my dad, mom, sister, cousins, uncles, aunts, friends, and be able to establish a conversation and a relationship with them eventually. Even my relative's dog knew him to be the only one that could set aside some time just to pet him. At first, I thought that my boyfriend is just a social being, which I was appreciative of, seeing as how I personally have been always a socially inept, awkward individual, but eventually this gift of his reaped dividends too, as when a close cousin of mine, let's say, fell in with the bad sort of crowd and was in desperate need of help and support, the only person she felt comfortable reaching out to was my boyfriend, who was then able to pass word to the rest of the family, and also rescue her. 5. He broke up with me because he was moving out of state for a job and I just wasn't going to be able to follow him. He brought me flowers, snacks, dinner, cards, and I don't remember what else to soften the blow. When he came back to visit, I was struggling hard, as if I could barely afford to feed myself. When he stopped by to see me, he had arms full of groceries to stock my fridge and pantry for weeks. He also kept trying to give me cash, but I refused. After he left, I found money stuck under something on my counter. He died a few years later in a car accident. Chris, you were one of a kind. I'll never miss the opportunity to tell the world what a uniquely amazing human you were. 6. When I started dating my guy, he knows how obsessed I am with rocks and beach combing. We live on the beach and I'll go look for shells for hours and he never complains. The first road trip we took together, he took me to the biggest natural rock formation on the west coast, Morro Bay. I'm a grown-ass adult and he never made me feel stupid for my love of rocks and collecting, and when we got there he said, "I know how much you love rocks, so I brought you to the biggest one I could. You just can't take this one home, unfortunately." I start crying immediately because I was always made fun of by my previous relationships for it. 7. I'm a type 1 diabetic and I wear a pump, which is basically a machine that helps track my blood sugar and give me insulin. Accordingly, when my blood sugar gets too low or too high, the pump makes noises. My so figured those tones out. One night I was sitting on the couch scrolling and my pump signaled I had low blood sugar. He was in the kitchen and without a word being said went to the fridge and brought me a juice box. I didn't know he knew, and it felt really good to feel understood and that someone was actually taking the time to know me and my disability. We had only been dating for 2 to 3 months at this point. 8. On my first date with my now husband, we were talking about our families. I told him how I had lunch every Sunday with my grandfather and also spent as much time with him as I could because he means the world to me. My husband looked at me with such awe and love in his eyes, then proceeded to tell me he had a great aunt he had lunch with every week as well because she was like a second grandmother to him. I still think about how he looked at me that day all these years later. He also tried walking on the outside of me on the sidewalk in case a car came and splashed a puddle. My dumbass had no idea what he was doing when he was trying to switch places with me on the sidewalk when we left the restaurant. Lol, but it was a sweet gesture. 9. My husband and I had a 7-hour-long first date. At the end of it, he shook my hand and said, "Have a lovely night." I definitely would have kissed me if not more. Lol. Anywho, married almost 10 years ago.